In the quiet hours of night, when the mind drifts between wakefulness and rest, history can soften into something gentle and dreamlike. Behind palace walls and beneath embroidered gowns, royal women lived lives far more complex than the official portraits suggest. Their stories were carefully edited by courtiers and chroniclers, leaving behind whispers of love, longing, and secret defiance. These hidden romances were not always scandalous in a modern sense, but they carried immense emotional weight in worlds where duty outweighed desire and where a single glance could alter the course of a kingdom. Consider the life of Anne Boleyn, often remembered only for her tragic end. Long before the scaffold, she lived in a delicate balance between affection and ambition. Anne was intelligent, musical, and deeply aware of the power of attention. Her early romances, including a quiet attachment to Henry Percy, were abruptly ended by forces far beyond her control. The love she may have felt was folded away, replaced by a calculated courtship with a king who would reshape England. In the stillness of night, one can imagine Anne remembering a simpler affection, one unburdened by crowns and consequences, wondering how different her life might have been had love been allowed to remain private. Across Europe, in the refined courts of France, Diane de Poitiers lived a love story that endured beyond convention. Though not a queen by title, her relationship with King Henry II shaped her life profoundly. Diane was older, poised, and discreet, embodying a calm elegance that contrasted sharply with the intrigues of court life. Their bond was an open secret, yet carefully managed, existing within unspoken rules. When Henry died, Diane retreated quietly, her influence gone, her love transformed into memory. Her story drifts through history like a soft echo, reminding us that even acknowledged love can feel secret when it must never challenge the structure of power. In Spain, Queen Isabella II's personal life was marked by loneliness hidden behind ceremony. Married young into a union devoid of affection, she sought warmth where she could find it. Rumors followed her throughout her reign, though history often reduces these whispers to judgment rather than empathy. Isabella lived in a gilded isolation, surrounded by formality but starved of emotional connection. The quiet sadness of her story lies not in scandal, but in the human need for closeness that royal duty rarely allowed her to fulfill openly. Further east, in the Ottoman Empire, royal women lived behind veils of protocol and seclusion. Yet love found its way even into the most controlled spaces. Harem Sultan, once a captive, rose to become the beloved partner of Suleiman the Magnificent. Their relationship broke tradition, evolving into a legal marriage rather than a hidden arrangement. While not secret in practice, the intimacy of their letters reveals a tenderness rarely associated with imperial rule. In their words, we find longing, reassurance, and playful affection, suggesting moments of softness amid the vast machinery of empire. Russia's Catherine the Great is often remembered for her power and intellect, but her private life was equally complex. Her marriage was cold and isolating, leaving her emotionally adrift in a hostile court. Catherine formed close attachments, some romantic, some deeply emotional, that sustained her through years of uncertainty. These relationships were rarely discussed openly, yet they provided her with companionship and confidence. In the quiet of her chambers, Catherine wrote letters filled with warmth and vulnerability, revealing a woman who valued connection as much as authority. In England once more, Princess Margaret, though closer to our own time, carried the weight of ancient royal expectations. Her love for Peter Townsend was sincere and deeply felt, yet it collided with rigid traditions. Forced to choose between love and duty, Margaret stepped away from the man she cared for, carrying that loss silently into her later life. Her story resonates softly because it feels familiar, a reminder that even in modern times, royal women have had to sacrifice personal happiness for the sake of appearance and continuity. Going back centuries, Eleanor of Aquitaine stands as a figure of passion and independence. Queen of both France and England at different times, Eleanor was known for her sharp mind and strong will. Her marriage to Louis VII lacked warmth, and those scandalous tales have followed her through history. What remains most compelling is her refusal to live quietly within expectations. Love, for Eleanor, was entwined with respect and partnership, something she sought fervently. In her long life, filled with travel and political maneuvering, one senses a restless heart that refused to be entirely constrained. In ancient Egypt, Queen Cleopatra's romances have been dramatized endlessly, yet beneath the legends lies a woman navigating survival through connection. Her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony were political, but not devoid of emotion. Cleopatra understood the power of intimacy, using it as a bridge between cultures and ambitions. In quieter moments, away from the marble halls and crowded banquets, she may have experienced genuine affection, fleeting and fragile in a world shaped by conquest. Japan's imperial court offers its own gentle stories of hidden love. Court ladies and empresses lived lives governed by ritual and restraint, expressing affection through poetry rather than touch. A carefully chosen verse, slipped behind a screen, could carry more emotion than any public declaration. These relationships were often ephemeral, remembered only in diaries and collections of verse. The beauty of these stories lies in their subtlety. Love reduced to moonlight, ink, and longing glances. Throughout history, royal women were expected to embody ideals rather than emotions. Love was permitted only when it aligned with alliances and succession. When affection wandered beyond those boundaries, it became a secret, guarded carefully, or erased entirely. Yet traces remain in letters, rumors, and quiet acts of defiance. These women loved as deeply as anyone else, though the consequences of doing so were far greater. As sleep approaches, these stories need not shock or excite. Instead, they can be allowed to drift gently, like candlelight flickering in long-closed corridors. They remind us that history is not only made of battles and treaties, but of hearts beating quietly behind silk and stone. In the stillness of the night, the hidden love stories of royal women become something tender and human, offering a sense of calm connection across centuries before finally fading into rest.